We begin with the latest in the Middle East. We've been talking about this all week, but an Iranian retaliation against Israel could be imminent. The situation is so uncertain, the U.S. Secretary of State is delaying his scheduled trip to the region. According to two U.S. officials, Iran still hadn't decided on a course of action as of last night. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden says he's concerned Iran's threat could negatively impact Gaza's ceasefire talks that are set for tomorrow.
We are in the most precarious place since World War II.
The U.S. is rushing to prevent a potential regional war in the Middle East. It's trying to calm tensions between Iran and Israel. If they escalate, the U.S. and Iranian proxies in other countries might end up involved.
The United States needs to be prepared to join Israel and strike if necessary, because frankly, the threat posed by Iran is far bigger than just Israel.
Part of the U.S. approach is deterrence. The Pentagon is positioning U.S. military resources in the region. The Biden administration is asking Congress to approve a $20 billion weapons deal for Israel. That equipment wouldn't reach the ally for years, but Israel's Minister of Defense says it sends a message now. The U.S. also is pursuing a diplomatic approach.
Everyone in the region should understand that further attacks only perpetuate conflict, instability, and insecurity for everyone.
A U.S. special envoy met with the Lebanese parliament minister amid fears that hostilities could turn into an all-out war, but the situation there was tense.
We are waiting for one answer. If there is any chance to avoid a war between Israel and Hezbollah.
I hope so, and I believe so.
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden says he's concerned the situation with Iran could harm ceasefire efforts between Israel and Hamas.
We fully expect these talks to move forward as they should, and our point of view is that all negotiators should return to the table and bring this deal to conclusion. It is far time for the remaining hostages to be released, which of course include American citizens, and bring relief to the people of Gaza.
Biden wants Hamas to accept the deal he proposed during talks set for tomorrow, but sticking points remain.
Our focus is on de-escalating tensions, working on enabling that ceasefire and getting these hostages returned home.
The ceasefire discussions haven't stopped Israeli strikes across Gaza. Nearly 40,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war started. In the past 24 hours alone, the ministry says more than 30 people were killed in Israeli strikes, including this man's 3-day-old twins and their mother. He cries out in agony, begging to see them one last time. Aysal and her brother Asser were just 3 days old. The Palestinian Ministry of Health says they're among 115 infants born and killed during the war in Gaza. These are the birth certificates, he says. While I was getting them, I received a phone call telling me our apartment was targeted and that my wife and children are at Al-Aqsa Hospital. Neighbors are still sifting through the aftermath of that strike. Hospital officials say an Israeli shell hit the apartment building. The victims of several other strikes in central Gaza also pour into Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, where more parents grieve the deaths of their children. How can I live after you, my son? This mother cries. Amid the grief, there's also anger and exasperation, including from the dead man's father. The entire unjust world does not care about us. That's all I can say, Hassan says. Just numbers. We're just numbers, but for God, we are martyrs. One by one, their bodies are brought out of the morgue so the living can pray for the dead, including 9-month-old Jamal and his father, Uday. Mohammed is performing the same rituals for his wife and twin babies, but prayers offer little comfort for a man who has lost everything for a new father with no children to raise.